China's foreign ministry has condemned protesters who illegally entered Beijing's consulate in the UK city of Manchester. Several rioters tried to storm the premises and physically assaulted an employee of the diplomatic mission. Beijing says its consulate has a full right to defend itself and has expressed hopes the UK will ensure the protection of embassies and consulates in the country.
The troublemakers illegally entered the Chinese Consulate General in Manchester, endangering the security of the premises. Any country's overseas diplomatic mission has the right to take necessary measures to uphold the peace and dignity of the premises.
However, the Western mainstream media has put its own spin on the story, showing footage aimed at depicting a so-called Hong Kong pro-democracy protester being dragged into the mission's grounds and beaten up, sparking outrage. Meanwhile, British police have launched an investigation involving an alleged assault on a protester, with a number of UK officials condemning the so-called attack, with some even urging to summon the Chinese ambassador and to expel or prosecute any official involved in the incident. Well, let's now take a closer look at this footage of the incident, showing what really happened there. Several protesters are seen trying to storm through the consulate gates and even throwing punches at employees, one of whom was grabbed and dragged out of the gate and was then clearly seen being kicked by the protesters. Local police used force to disperse the attackers, pulling them away from the entrance several times.
Everybody move back! Move back! Go! Move back! Move back!
They destroyed private property! Did you see that?
Everybody move back!
Everybody on the other side! Did you see that?
Independent China specialist Andrew Lung says Western media attempts to demonize China are despicable.
First of all, I'm very ashamed of the so-called Hong Kong protester for what he did outside the Chinese consulate, because the video clearly showed that when the consulate security guard was trying to ask the protesters not to put provocative material immediately outside the security gate, the security guard outside the security gate was surrounded by this mob of the so-called protesters, and then beaten up by several of them, and pushed to the ground and kicked around. And then until his colleague inside the security gate saw what happened and went outside to rescue him, and also arrested this one of the offenders and dragged him inside and beat the guy up in retaliation. And then afterwards thrown him outside the gate, and rightly so. So that's what actually happened. And then I'm also quite ashamed of the standard of journalism in some of the media outlets, and some of them quite reputable, and trying to twist the story. And actually, they actually should have seen what actually happened. This is really part of the West almost DNA to demonize China